Right now, imagine that you're at a campfire at a present-day dude ranch. A grizzled cowboy stands up and says, I'm going to tell you a true story about America's most beloved outlaw. On July 14th, 1881, just before midnight, Sheriff Pat Garrett shot and killed the fugitive desperado known as Billy the Kid while arresting him. Billy was 21 years old. The legend says that he had killed 21 men, one for each year of his short but violent life. Modern historians have confirmed only about half that number. In the Old West, it wasn't a priority to keep scrupulous records of every death, so we will never know how many men Billy actually killed. How can we resolve this uncertainty? In my favorite Western, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, the drunken newspaper man said, when truth and legend collide, print the legend. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about one of those incidents that we do have some verified documentation for, the killing of Joe Grant. Joe Grant arrived in Lincoln County in December 1879. He was a Texan and a blowhard, although that is a redundancy. Almost everybody in Lincoln County liked Billy, even his supposed enemies. Grant, however, took an immediate and visceral dislike to the kid. More than once he bragged that he just might be the man who would kill the infamous outlaw. On January 10th, 1880, Billy and a few of his buddies were riding around, presumably looking for stray horses or cattle to steal. At some point, they ran across a party of men from the Chisholm Ranch, a few days' ride to the south, who were rounding up some of their own strays. That group included one Jack Finnan, who was widely known for his chrome-plated pistol with an ivory or possibly mother-of-pearl handle that he had special ordered from back east. Finnan fancied himself a good shot. Everybody acknowledged that Billy was the best shot in Lincoln County, if not the entire New Mexico territory. Finnan challenged Billy to a friendly shooting contest, figuring that any outcome would enhance his reputation. Billy declined, figuring that he had nothing to gain and everything to lose from such a competition. Nevertheless, Finnan fired 2 shots to demonstrate his prowess and hit his mark both times. That night, Finnan was playing faro at Bob Hargrove's saloon in Fort Sumner. Grant came up behind him and swapped their revolvers. Like many men in the Old West, Grant consumed prodigious quantities of whiskey. As an aside, Billy was never known to drink alcohol. When Finnan turned and saw Grant, drunk and belligerent, he decided that it would be prudent to postpone retrieving his prized pistol. A few minutes later, Billy walked up to Grant and said, "Hey, Joe, that's a mighty fancy shooting iron. Mind if I take a look?" Without waiting for Grant to respond, Billy lifted Finnan's pistol out of Grant's holder. He turned it back and forth in his hand to feel the weight and balance, spun the cylinder, and then holding the gun by the barrel, he handed it back to Grant and started walking towards the door. Billy was halfway to the exit before Grant's inebriated brain connected the pistol in his hand and the clear line of sight to Billy's retreating back and concluded that he had the perfect opportunity to make good on his oft-repeated boast. "Hey, kid," Grant called. Billy stopped. Grant pulled the trigger and the gun went click. Before Grant could fire again, Billy pivoted, drew his own 6-shooter, and put 2 bullets through Grant's chin. He was dead before his head hit the floor. The legend says that you could cover both entry wounds with a $50. Needless to say, the commotion brought the festivities to a halt. Everybody walked over to the courthouse for a coroner's inquest. Since the saloon had been full of witnesses who saw Grant fire first, Billy was summarily found not guilty by reason of self-defense. So what really happened? Some people would point out that in the Old West, ammunition was of notoriously poor quality and that misfires were common. They would say that the truth is that Billy's life was saved that night by good luck. It wouldn't have been the first time or the last. On the other hand, the legend says that when Billy noticed that Grant had Finnan's distinctive firearm, he remembered their encounter that afternoon. While he was inspecting it, he saw that Finnan hadn't reloaded. When he spun the cylinder, he left the 2 empty cartridges in sequence to fire first. Grant would have had to pull the trigger 3 times to get off a live round. How can we resolve this uncertainty? Like the aforementioned newspaperman said, when truth and legend collide, print the legend.